Sabah.
He's talking to you. He's talking to you.
Look at that store here.
Take him a family now.
Right, good.
Who are you married to? I thought it was the Patong.
Not yet.
Take your time and be quick. Officer Devils.
Center of the island presently. So, anybody visited this area before?
Yo.
No, this is the set.
Introduce yourself, your location, and then start.
Right, yeah. You ready? Okay. So, good day, everyone. Good day. Welcome to Tamana Mountain Chocolate. My name is Martin Matthew, and I am a cocoa farmer. Okay? Anybody here farmers? One farmer? Two?
Look at farmer friend here.
Alright, three. Anybody farming cocoa? Anybody grow up in cocoa? Yeah. Anybody grow up in cocoa? Yeah. Cocoa tea. Alright. Yeah, what area? Alright. Good. So, I would like to welcome you all here. We have a nice program for you to enjoy. First, Jackie's preparing some hot chocolate, and you'll all have hot chocolate first. And one, yeah, I know. Okay. Right. So the first item, Jackie's preparing some hot chocolate, and you all will have that first. Then we'll have a discussion on the cocoa industry, and I'm glad there are some folks here who are familiar with the industry, so you all can correct me in some instances, add to what I'm saying with regards to the cocoa. And while we are doing that, after you have your hot chocolate, you all will be having cocoa chow. So, anybody had cocoa chow before? No. Anybody cocoa chow before? No. You did? Alright, cool. Right. So, after that, after the discussion, we'll have a couple of chocolates up for grab. So listen carefully. We'll have a couple prizes with chocolates available. If whoever answers the most questions with regards to the industry. And when we're finished with this part of the program, we'll separate the group. The museum is right here. Half will visit the museum. The other half will go with me to the processing facility. We also have a grafting station as well, where you all will see the process of grafting as well. When we come back, you all will have lunch. After that, we'll dance cocoa. We have some cocoa dancers? Yes. Right, and there's a prize for cocoa dancing as well. Alright?
One thing about the group,
yes.
They half will go and half will go. When they come back, they will switch.
Right, yes. Right, so when you all return, we have that visited the museum. We'll go with me to the other sites. And after that, then we'll have lunch and dancing at cocoa. Also, you all will be sampling our dab and milk chocolates as well. And anybody had cocoa wine before? No. Alright, so you'll be sampling cocoa wine. And how about cocoa punch creme? Alright, so you all have all that to sample today as well, right? Well, the samples. And we have some items on sale. when you all are finished, we have the chocolate, the grated chocolate. We have dark chocolates. We have milk chocolates. We also have some cocoa wine and cocoa punch cream on sale as well. Okay? Right. So let's start. Anybody know where the cocoa started, where cocoa originated? Where was the first place that actually cocoa was grown? First place?
You mean in the world?
In the world, yes.
Ghana.
No, it's not Africa. Okay, it is in the Amazon basin in South America, and that is where cocoa originated. And it was first used by the Mayans and the Aztecs. Anybody know how they used cocoa? Remember they had no machines or machinery in those times? Okay, right, so they had several ways. Now, we have to keep the tab of who is answering the questions so they will be able to get a chocolate when we finish, right? So, if you want to answer, just raise your hand so we'll know who will be answering the questions, right? Okay, so it originated in South America and it was first used by the Mayans and the Aztecs. They used cocoa in about 3 or 4 forms, but the main one, they made a drink with it. So they would crush the cocoa beans, they'd add maize, water, and chili pepper, and that was the drink they made. They would also use it as money. So 5 cocoa beans, you could buy an avocado, 10 cocoa beans, you could buy a rabbit, and 100 cocoa beans, you could actually buy a slave. They had tents. They had tents. Right? Right. So it had slaves in those times, yes. Yeah? So, when the Spaniards came, they saw the Aztecs using the cocoa. So Herman Cortez in 1518, he took cocoa back to Spain. At first, they used it as a medicine for upset stomach. And then they started to add sugar, vanilla, and honey. And that is how the chocolate drink was born in Europe, in Spain actually. They kept it a secret in Spain for 100 years. Yeah. And it was only when the Spanish princess Marie Therese married Louis XIV, she took as gifts chocolate to France. And that is how it started to spread throughout Europe. Yeah? The first cocoa butter press was made by a Dutch scientist named Van Houten. And the first chocolate bar was made by an Englishman called Joseph Fry in 1846. And they still have Fry's chocolate today. Right. So, how did cocoa come to Trinidad? Anybody? Alright, so the Spaniards in 1525, they brought cocoa to Trinidad, 1525. And they brought a variety here first called Criollo. Criollo cocoa, when you make chocolate with it, it has nutty and caramel flavors. It is the most expensive cocoa beans in the world and it's being sold for 7,000 US per ton. Right? So in 1525 when they brought that, they planted it throughout Trinidad. Over time, the Criollo cocoa started to get a lot of diseases. So they brought another variety called the Foresterio. And they planted it where the Criollo plants had died. So they kind of interplanted it between the Criollo trees. What happened is that here in Trinidad first, both variety, Criollo and Foresterio, started to cross-pollinate naturally here in Trinidad. And that is how Trinitario cocoa was born. First in Trinidad. Initially, it was called ICS, Imperial College Selection, because our first university was the ICTA, Imperial College of Tropical Agriculture. So from that, ICS came about, which is our early Trinitario cocoa. Okay? We alright so far? Everybody here? Everybody comfortable? Yeah. Nice. The Foresterio that they bought second is being sold on the world market for 2,000 US per ton, and that is what is referred to as bulk cocoa. It has no flavor. It just has a strong cocoa taste. No flavor. So, 90% of world cocoa is forest area. 7% is Trinitario and 3% is the Criollo cocoa. From those 3 varieties, they now have 10, and from those 10, they have over 25 varieties of cocoa in the world. Right? Anybody know which country is the largest producer of cocoa in the world? Anybody?
Brazil?
No, it's not South America. It's Africa. Anybody? No. Alright, the west coast of Africa, Ivory Coast. They are the leading largest producer of cocoa in the world. Second is Ghana. Third, Indonesia. And Indonesia started to produce cocoa in 1978. They are already the 3rd largest producer. So they expect Asia, with its cheap labor and large land mass, to be the next powerhouse in cocoa production.
What about the quality? Does the quality differ from country to country?
Yes, it does. And you answer it a little bit further, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So, 5th is Cameroon. Then we have the South American countries. And there is only one island in the top 10 from the Caribbean. Anybody?
Trinidad.
No. It's not Trinidad, sadly, it's not Trinidad.
Grenada.
No.
Jamaica?
Dominica? No. Close, you're close. Alright, it's the Dominican Republic. They are 10th in the world in cocoa production, and their production for the year is 60,000 tons of cocoa beans. 60,000 tons. Yeah? In the 1920s, Trinidad was the 3rd largest in the world, and we were 3rd behind Venezuela and Ecuador. Our production then was 30,000 tons. Today, less than 300 tons. From 30,000 to less than 300 tons present. That's how far we have done. So the Trinidad though has the largest cocoa genes bank in the world. And the custodian for the cocoa genes bank is the Cocoa Research Center at the university. And at that bank they have over 2,500 varieties. So anywhere in the world, any country loses their cocoa quality or their cocoa variety, they could come to Trinidad and get back that type of cocoa.
Wow.
That is being sponsored by the European Union and 3 or 4 other companies that support us. Because Trinidad has the oldest history of cocoa in the world, and it's housed at the university. Yeah? Right. So there are a number of reasons. When Africa started to produce cocoa, the price went down drastically. So some of the plantation owners converted their cocoa estates to sugarcane. You know? And then with the Great Depression, it had a number of factors. And also our advent of the oil industry in Trinidad. A lot of the people left the estates and they went to work in some of the oil industry. Yeah? So that's some of the reasons why the cocoa dropped so drastically here in Trinidad. So there are a lot of abandoned cocoa estates throughout the island. Yeah? So returning to the genes bank, for each variety of cocoa in the world, they have 16 plants. 16 plants for each variety. And that genes bank is located at La Reunion Estate in Centeno. And they have over 60 acres of cocoa with those different varieties. Yeah? Anybody have any questions so far? Anybody want to add anything? Yeah, go ahead, Kurt. Say that again, you didn't hear? Yes. Okay. So he's saying that cocoa production has, or the trees that started, that it was 7 years before, and it's 3 years now. And you are right, but there are different types of cocoa trees. One is a seedling, where you take the seed of a cocoa from the cocoa pod, you plant it, and that will take about 5 years. So if you take a seed from a cocoa, you plant that, that is known as a seedling, and it will take between 5 and 7 years, yes. The other type is a grafted, where you take the branch of a bearing tree and you graft it onto a seedling, and that will take anywhere from 3 to 4 years to bear. The other one is called a clone, where you take a branch of a bearing tree, you put some rooting powder on it, you stick it in a bag and it grows. That will start flowering from 2 years. The disadvantage with the clone is because you use a branch, it doesn't carry a taproot. So when you plant it, because of the terrain, it can topple over easily because it doesn't have a taproot. So the cocoa plant that they recommend is a grafted plant, where you choose the variety that you want, and it will bear in about 3 to 4 years.
A viewer from on Facebook Live has a question. He says, his name is Dwight Nimblett. He says, what are the plans for the UWI's, University of the West Indies, new venture?
Okay, so we understand lately that the university is setting up a chocolate factory in Trinidad. The university normally gives chocolate making course. So it's like a 4 to 5 days course, and it's anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 that they charge to do the chocolate making course. So with regards to making chocolates, we did not get all the details as to where they're getting the beans, the quantity of chocolates that they will be producing, where the markets will be. We are not sure about that. We didn't get any details with regards to that. But there are over 28 chocolate makers presently here in Trinidad. Yeah? Anybody has another question?
Can I ask?
Yes, sir.
Could you stand up, please, sir? With the record.
Can I ask, sir?
Yes, sir.
Is there any evidence to suggest that the quality of soil affects the quality of the taste of the cocoa? If not, is there a special type of soil that would allow cocoa to prosper more than?
So there are two answers to your question. One, cocoa grows best 10 to 11 degrees north or south of the equator. Anywhere around that belt, cocoa grows best. Here in Trinidad, if you were to make chocolates with cocoa from Granny Red, you would get spicy notes. At Vancouver, you will get more like bergamot. In Tamana, you'll get nuts and raisins. So even here in our little island, different parts of the country, you get different flavors of chocolate. And it all depends on the vegetation. Cocoa is like a sponge. It kind of absorbs the vegetation that is around. Yeah? So that answers your question, sir?
Interesting.
So the industry with regards to production, every year at La Reunion Estate, they produce between 50 to 60,000 plants. And for the past 10 years, that will be more than 500,000 plants. And yet still, our cocoa production continues to diminish. And some instances, you can't even get plants at La Reunion Estate because all are sold out. So there are some questions that at this point in time, we just can't answer with regards to production. We produce in so many plants, and yet still, our production continues to drop. Now I know for the past 2 to 3 years, we have had a lot of rain. And even our own estate, our production has dropped from, say, about a ton of beans to about 200-300 kilograms. So the weather is affecting the cocoa at this point, especially here in Trinidad. But it's not an overall picture with regards to people getting into the industry, planting more plants. There's some questions that just cannot be answered at this time. Yeah? Anybody else want to ask?
So in terms of the terrain,
Yeah.
the cocoa most likely to thrive in mountainous areas.
They love the mountainous areas.
Do you use fertilizers in your cocoa
Okay,
production?
so our estate is organic certified. The San Antonio estate at Vancouver is also organic certified, and there's just a handful of cocoa estates that are organic certified in Trinidad. It's an expensive venture, and we benefited from the European Union because we are involved in a group called the OCT, and they were able to get sponsored for us to do the certification. So it's only this year going there that we are organic certified. But very few estates are organic certified in Trinidad at this time. Yeah.
What about fertilization, the incidence of fertilization from other crops around? And secondly, you know we have ring
Diseases.
diseases for coconuts.
Yeah.
Do we have any sort of disease that affect cocoa production in Trinidad?
Yeah, there are a number of diseases, and the main disease that is affecting Trinidad presently is the witch's broom disease. Witch's broom. Where witch's broom, it affects the pod from the inside coming out. So when you notice witch's broom, the pod is already destroyed. The other one is black pod, and that starts from the outside going in. So both of them is really fungus related. Both diseases are actually fungus related. Yeah. So the best way to keep away these funguses is good agricultural practices. And regular pruning and drainage of the estate will help. It will not eliminate the diseases, but it will help. Yeah. There is another disease called frosty pot. It has destroyed the cocoa industry in Costa Rica. They have it in Jamaica and Venezuela presently. Nobody is allowed to bring in cocoa beans into Trinidad. Because of our genes bank, if that disease were to come here, it will destroy the industry as well as the genes bank. That is too precious for us to lose that. So nobody is allowed to bring cocoa beans into the country. Yeah. The frosty pot disease that is in Jamaica, Trinidad is really blessed. There is a type of cocoa from Trinidad called the ICS 95. Where the other trees in Jamaica were being destroyed, our Trinitario ICS 95 stood up strong.
Full of guns, full of shots to the nation. Whoever I want, just create one. 7 man march out of the nation.
Right. So, remember I mentioned we are in a group called the OCT. We were able to get funding from the European Union and the Angostura, and we are setting up 3 grafting stations here in Trinidad. One is already built here, and you all will visit it to see it in a bit. The other one is being built at Vancouver, and the third one is in Moruga. Today we have some immigrant workers and some youths going down to the station in Moruga to do some training, cocoa training. Presently, the cocoa farmers are older folks. If we are to sustain the cocoa industry, we have to get the youths involved in cocoa. Now, remember it takes about between 3 to 5 years to start getting production from the cocoa industry. So, that doesn't attract the youths at all. Because if you plant a pimento, in 3 months you're selling pimento. Cocoa is 3 years. But we export cocoa beans to Europe and America. Why are we still exporting beans and not doing our own chocolates to export? Yeah. Similarly with the pineapple people. Little tin of pineapple is about $20–30, and we have pineapple wasting in these areas. Why we can't set up our own pineapple factory instead of importing? But we want to wait on the government. We shouldn't, farmers shouldn't be waiting on the government. We could get together as a group. We can get together as a group, set up our own pineapple factory, set up our own large chocolate company. We have a farmer doing cocoa to carry his beans and get a fixed price. and probably when the people sell chocolate, get a return on their beans. There are things we need to put in place to sustain our cocoa industry. Trinidad has given more to the world than any country in the world with regards to cocoa, and it did not originate here in Trinidad. We are not benefiting in any way from the industry. So things have to change, things have to be done. Right? So we talk about diseases. We spoke about the type of trees. Remember, is the seedling, is the grafted, and the cloner. And the type of diseases is the witch's broom, the black pod, frosty pod as well. And the pests that affects cocoa. Anybody know the pests that affects the cocoa? No, the pests, not the diseases.
Squirrel.
Right, so we have squirrel. Malibu? No, not yet, thank God. The other one is parrot. So the squirrel eats the ripe pod, the parrots eat the green cocoa pods, and there's another one, the woodpecker. And here what they do, they cut a tiny hole in the cocoa pod while it's green. And as it matures and ripe, insects get into it, they come and they peck on the pod, and as fast as the insects coming out, they eat the insect. Right. So we talk about the industry. Anybody have any questions with that so far? Yes, sir.
Earlier in the year we had some low temperatures. How did that affect the trees or whatever? And yeah.
Okay. So the question is, we had some very low temperatures earlier this last year. This year. Right. So there's not much cocoa for the temperature to affect presently. Alright? But temperature change affects the fermentation and drying. It doesn't, cocoa, it's like between 20 to 28, 30 degrees, that's where it dries. Yeah? So the temperature would not affect us. The coldest place that cocoa is grown in the world is Hawaii. And they're doing well with the industry. Although it's cold, it's still thriving. So it doesn't affect. And rain, cocoa in the Amazon gets between 1,600 and 2,100 millimeters of water, and they thrive well in that. So it doesn't affect the tree. It's more the fruit that the water affects. Yeah? So if you practice good agricultural practices, it will eliminate some of the diseases. Right? Nice. So, yes.
When you start on your cocoa estate, can you intercrop?
Yes, right. And he asked, if you start a cocoa estate, you can intercrop. And that is a very good question, because yes, you can. Remember, it takes 2 to 3 years to start getting cocoa. So they encourage, because the cocoa season is normally from November to April. What does a farmer do with the other months? So bananas, cassava. So the young cocoa plants need 75% shade, the young one. So bananas and cassava, things like breadfruit, avocado, mangoes as well. All these can be planted in between, so that when you're out of crop, you can be getting something to sustain the farmer as well. Yeah? So that's very fine. Yes, there?
Yeah, you talked about employment, and I just wanted to go back to that. So the young people, you say, need to be interested in
Yes.
we have problems with employment and young people right now. So first question, are the persons employed, various, are they from around the area? And when you talk about immigrants, are they Trinidadians, are they from around the area of the Waco and
The locals? Yes, yes.
So most of them are from around.
Yeah. But so where the cocoa is grown, you'll find like farm workers within the area that you'll be using. But it's still a challenge, because the cost to produce cocoa and the cost of labor, there's a big gap, So most farmers kind of tend to want to do the farming themselves, but to pay workers and the returns on cocoa is not all that great. Yeah. So you have another part of your questions?
Yes, so yeah. And of course the immigrants are just speculate Venezuelans, etc.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so they're okay with using, because they would have come from industry, I suppose, when Coco was also, right? So they would know about it. Okay, I was going to ask in terms of making family parties, since it takes 2 to 3 years, one question. Are these persons, I'm not asking how much you pay them, but are they well paid in terms of what they will get here and something they go down out there? Because the competition might be part of the problem.
So, with the cocoa industry, you can't hire and work on a full-time basis. So what you tend to do, so the question is if we are paying the immigrant workers a reasonable salary.
And the locals.
And the local as well. So what I'm saying is that the industry is not a full-time industry. In that the cocoa crop is from November to April. So you bring in additional help during the cocoa season. And then when you have to prune, which is twice a year, you begin workers as well. And then to maintain the weeds and such, you begin, so you wouldn't need the workers on a full-time basis. But there are so many estates that you, like say you have about 10 immigrant workers in this area, you could have them in different areas as well. Yeah? So you can have them. Once they are properly trained, because there's a lot of technical work with regards to the cocoa industry. For instance, where the cocoa is attached to the cocoa tree, to the branch, it's called the flower cushion. If when harvesting the cocoa, you destroy that flower cushion, it will never bear another cocoa at that point. So anybody visiting the older estates, you will notice that the cocoa are bearing on the end of the branches. Because over time, they have destroyed all the flower cushions along the trunk of the tree. And what is more amazing is that along the trunk, you get the bigger pods. And you want the bigger pods. So all these things we'll be training farmers, teach them so that to help to restore the industry. So with regards to the station that we have building and it's almost completed, we will be doing seminars, and that is when we'll be targeting our cocoa farmers. We are in the process of setting up a Cocoa Farmers Association, and we try to bring the cocoa farmers together so that we'll be able to share knowledge. Because a lot of you are hearing today here, a lot of farmers don't know this. So we need to educate the farmers to get more production as well. Because this simple thing, destroying the flower cushion, will affect your production so much. You know? So a young cocoa is called a sherelle. And from flower, it takes 150 days from flower to harvest. 150 days from flower to harvest. The first 75 days, it assumes the shape. The next 65 days, it matures, and it takes 10 days to ripe. So it takes about 5 months. So that is when cocoa flowers in June, you start harvesting in November. Yeah? There are two main colors. Right? Two main colors of cocoa. The green cocoa pod will ripe yellow. The maroon pods will ripe orange. So, but you'll get varying shades of yellow and varying shades of orange as well. Yeah? Okay, so I want to crack a pod. Tell them to send out the knife and cut. And once you start harvesting, when the season starts, they want you to harvest every 2 weeks. The reason for that is, during fermentation, you don't want the cocoa to be overripe. So we're introducing a term here now called fermentation, and what some of us know as sweating cocoa. Anybody know the purpose of that? Anybody know why we ferment or why we sweat cocoa? Yes, but why?
You could make the wines too when you put them.
Okay, yeah, you could do wines. during the fermentation process, the pulp is really broken down as well. But there's some science involved in that. So, once you crack the pod, or before you crack the pod, nothing is happening on the inside. Nothing. Once you crack this pod, the microorganism starts to work on the cocoa beans or the pulp. So we crack one. And normally it's one shot, eh? Right. So once the pod is open, the microorganism starts to work. Right. So, yes. Yes, yes. Alright, so let me make a few statements and you will answer. Right? So once the pod is open, the microorganism starts to work. You see the white pulp that is around the cocoa? 20% is sugar, 80% is water. So there is no way you could get shortbread. Right, so it's just a myth. Right. Because they didn't want you to interfere with the cocoa pod. Right, they didn't want you to pick it. They didn't want you to swallow the beans. Right. So once it's open like this, the microorganism starts to work. So you'll extract the beans and you'll put it in a box called a fermentation box, or what some of us know as a sweat box. The microorganism that works first is yeast. And when you put the beans in the box, you have to cover it properly. That first 2 days is known as the anaerobic stage of the fermentation, meaning that no oxygen is allowed into the box. If oxygen gets in, it will destroy the yeast. The yeast will take a back seat. So the first 2 days, the yeast works on the sugar, which is how much percent? 20%. And it converts the sugar into alcohol. So after 2 days, you smell alcohol coming out from the box. Any of you who did cocoa actually smell that sugar and that alcohol? The first 2 days is that it converts the sugar into alcohol. You then open the box and you introduce oxygen. When you do that, the yeast takes a back seat. And when they take a back seat, another bacteria called the acetic acid bacteria, they start to work on the alcohol and they convert the alcohol to acetic acid. And what is acetic acid? Vinegar. Somebody said vinegar? Right. So after 3 to 4 days, you start smelling vinegar because the acetic acid bacteria converts the alcohol to acetic acid. Everybody had chocolate?
Grow like that.
Huh?
What's the benefit of eating it grow like that?
Cocoa is the food with the most antioxidant.
Say again?
Cocoa is the food with the most antioxidant. If you can eat beans raw, it's the best medicine. And it's good for blood pressure. As it is? Oh, yeah. So somebody has to repeat. So what we are saying is cocoa in its raw form has the most antioxidant. So it helps reduces blood pressure. It also has the most, it has magnesium and potassium as well. So some people are starting to eat the raw beans, what they call the nips, like nuts, and they are adding it to smoothies and they're putting it in the oats and as well. Right? So, ready, okay? Yeah. Now, with everything, you don't eat too much, eh? You don't want your blood pressure dropping too low as well. Yeah? So you eat everything in moderation. So we reach the 4 days. After 4 days, yes, yeah? Okay, so the question is how many seeds are usually in a cocoa pod? It varies. The beans, okay, so if you make a chocolate bar with it, they suggest 1 bag. One. Okay, so each seed is 1 gram. So a bar is usually 60 grams. Yeah? Raw form. But like I said, about 5-6 beans. Yeah, 5-6 beans a day is reasonable. Yeah? And you can eat every day. So, after 4 days, the shell around the beans softens and the acetic acid enters into the beans and it breaks down the protein. So 2 things happen then. The liquid inside the bean turns from purple to brown, and if you were to cut the beans, it's smooth inside. After 4 or 5 days, it starts forming resin. You see the lines on the palm of your hand? When that happens, you want to stop the fermentation. If it continues, there's another bacteria called the lactic acid bacteria. It starts to work, and we all know what that is. Lactic acid is ammonia. If the beans reach that stage, you have to throw it away. Cocoa is a food, right? And we have to treat it as a food. So you don't want it to reach that stage. Another critical thing with the beans during fermentation, the cocoa is a seed that will grow. At 45 degrees it dies. So you're using your thermometer to ensure that you cross 45 degrees. If it doesn't and you have it in storage and it's wet, it will grow. Right? So you want to ensure that you cross 45 degrees during the fermentation process. Right? Question?
Recently, going from Aruba, you will see a lot of cocoa trees just seem to be drying. A lot of what I call abandoned cocoa plantation. What's happening with this?
During the COVID time, and a little while before that as well, there wasn't much sale for beans, especially during COVID. Farmers, I buy beans from farmers, and they were calling with beans, and because of COVID we couldn't buy them, because there was no market for beans. But before that, older farmers, their children not getting involved in cocoa. So, like I said, the cocoa farmers are older folks now, and how much can they do? So we were hoping to get some labor with the immigrant workers. But here's the thing about it, our oil industry is depleting quickly. I was offshore until 3 years ago. I was offshore until 3 years ago. I started working at Amoko, and the production at Amoko was 150 barrels of oil per day. The same field, which is called TSP, production is about 5,000. So we have to realize that this cocoa industry that we're not looking after, this is one of our way outs in Trinidad. Because we have offered the world so much, we have so much more to offer with regards to cocoa. And our beans is regarded as one of the best beans to make chocolate in the world. And here's what, the chocolate industry in the world is worth $128 billion US dollars. Yes, sir? Okay. So she's asking whether the Swiss chocolate is good for us as compared to this. On a label, any label, you're supposed to have the largest mass first. You don't see cocoa at the head of the list there in those foreign chocolates. That means that things like milk and sugar is what is being used mainly, and cocoa is the least amount. So what you're really eating is candy. Yes, candy. Even their 70% dark chocolate doesn't have 70% cocoa in it. So that brings us to a statement. Everybody here now understand what 70% in chocolate means. When you say 70%, it means that 70% of that chocolate is pure cocoa. 80% pure cocoa. 100% there is no additive. It's only cocoa. Right? So I just want to step back a little with regards to fermentation. Why we ferment cocoa? And this one is for a price. Right, and this beautiful lady said that also it will occur during this fermentation process, but it's not the reaction. So anybody? Nobody? Fermentation reduces the acidity and the astringency of the cocoa beans. So if you were to bite raw beans, it will be slightly bitter. After fermentation, or good fermentation, if you make chocolate, it will not be very bitter. So fermentation reduces the acidity and the astringency in chocolate. And the next question for chocolate is, what does astringent means? Tacky? I hear you drying. What Mama saying there? Tongue like how? No. Astringency. Everybody had cashew before? You see how cashew ties up your tongue? Astringency in chocolate is when the chocolate tying up your tongue. So fermentation reduces that. Now that's what you were saying? Right, so she has to get a chocolate, right? And you also remind me, Gary? Right. So it takes about 5 to 6 days for the fermentation process. When you take it out from the box, you want to spread the beans thin because you want the fermentation to stop. If it continues, the lactic acid bacteria will start to work. So when you take it out of the box, you spread it thin. And then you start to dry the beans. Depending on weather condition, it takes about 6 to 8 days to properly dry cocoa beans. So then, how would you know when the cocoa beans are properly dry? Question for chocolate. Shake it. Anybody else? So, no, that is the fermentation process. Right. So, the lady in the white t-shirt, you are right to a point. That is how it was done long time. But that does not determine the proper drying process. There are two ways. One, there is a meter called a moisture meter, and you take the dry beans and you take it from the different section of the drying house, put it in the tester, and you want to read between 6 and 7% moisture. It's an expensive piece of equipment, and a lot of our farmers cannot afford that. So there is a rule of thumb that has been working and will continue to work. So what you do, you take a cocoa beans and you cut it down the middle. You put it between your thumb and index and you bend. If it bends and doesn't break, it's not dry, still wet. If it bends and shatters, it's over dry. You want, when you bend that, it breaks in two, and that is when you want to stop the drying process. Cocoa can then be stored for up to 2 years if it's stored properly before you can actually use it. And it takes 7 pots to give you a kilogram of wet cocoa. Wet cocoa is when you just extract it from the pot, and that is referred to as wet cocoa. When you convert that, you will get 1/3 of a kilo in dry beans. So you lose 2/3 of the weight. So 100 kilogram of wet beans will give you between 33 to 38 kilogram of dry beans. Yes, friends? Yeah, to make wine. And that's what you're tasting today. So, the question is, do we use the white pulp? But remember, during the fermentation process, the pulp breaks down. So what you can do You elevate the box and you collect the liquid at the base. And then you can make cocoa juice, you can make cocoa wine, and you can reuse it back into another batch to help the fermentation process. Yeah? Okay, so the shell is one of the best manure. And also they are making cocoa flour now with the shell. So nothing is being thrown away. Yeah. Yes, yes. $18. Yeah. So you all ready to sample our cocoa chow? Sure. Yes, sir?
Just wondering what nutrients we get from
Where the sugar motor? From the pulp, the sugar motor. Yeah? There is flavor. Yes, sir.
I want to go back to where you were saying that your chocolate stores have a large amount of but is there a brand that has a large amount of
All our local cooked chocolate, once it's 70%, it will have 70%.
so that is the greatest amount of chocolate?
No, you can get 100%.
Is it available? That's what I mean.
It's not a good seller. So, yeah. So the question is, with regards to the percentage of cocoa. If we could only, like what we refer to as the Swiss chocolate, if our local chocolate has more cocoa, yes. Every chocolate that is made that says 70%, I have tasted most of the chocolates, and yes, our local chocolate has the amount of cocoa that they say it has.
But does it taste good?
Right. So, yes, ours is very good. But chocolate will taste good depending on the fermentation and the drying process. If that is done properly. You can take the best cocoa beans from a tree and don't do a good ferment and dry, you'll get very bad tasting chocolate. Once it starts to get mold or it wasn't fermented properly, that's you can actually taste the mold in the cocoa. Yeah?
Why some of the dark chocolate is bitter?
Right. Remember we said fermentation reduces the acidity and the astringency. During the fermentation process, the acid gets into the cocoa, and remember we talk about breaking down the protein? If you take the cocoa from the drying house and you put it directly into the sunlight, the outer shell hardens, so all the acid and the salts are trapped on the inside. So you have to gradually expose the cocoa beans once you take it out of the dry house. You don't put it into direct sunlight for 8 and 10 hours. You have to gradually expose so that the acid, remember we talk about the acid into the beans, it will slowly come out. If you put it direct, it will be trapped inside. So that is why some of the chocolates are bitter, because they didn't allow the acid to come out.
Can I ask?
Yes, sir.
Out of curiosity,
Coming to me.
I know we're speaking about cocoa,
Yes, sir.
and I just wondered about the coffee industry. Is there a collaboration or is completely different? Nothing to do with that, that's one. The other thing is,
So he's asking about the coffee industry as compared to the cocoa.
and if there's a collaboration or sharing of technologies, if there's a need for that, that's one. But also, the EU funding, I suppose, come with certain restrictions. Are those restrictions in keeping with your philosophy of producing and growing stuff, or you have to adjust?
So with first question with regards to the coffee, there are only a handful of coffee producers in Trinidad. So coffee is becoming very, very expensive. And most of the coffee we're getting on the shelves are imported coffee. Hardly any coffee left in Trinidad. Right? And with regards to the European Union, if they were to give you a grant, they would do spot checks to ensure that what you say when you use the money for, it is being used. And even with a government grant, you have to sign a contract, and they will have inspectors or workers come in and ensure that the money you get when you sign that contract, you're actually using it for that purpose.
Question.
Yes, sir?
If I'm a small farmer and I pick my cocoa and I don't want to process it, I look at places in Trinidad that I can take it to for them to process it.
Right.
And how do I package it to give it to them?
Okay. So the question is, if you have a small plantation and you don't want to process the beans, like ferment and dry, and you want to sell it to somebody, there are a number of fermenters in Trinidad that who will buy the wet beans, and there are certain criteria that has to be met. One, you can't put growing beans, you can't put black beans, and you don't want pieces of pod in the beans. So you have to produce good quality beans, because like we said, good quality beans is good quality chocolate. So you can go to any one of these buyers and they will buy the beans. It's being sold presently for $11 a kilo wet, and when it's dry you can pay up to $40 a kilo. That answers? Yes, yeah. Right. So she's asking, when you make a chocolate, why it is there is oil on top. So every cocoa bean has 51% cocoa butter in it. Every cocoa bean. So the oil you're seeing is actually cocoa butter floating on the top. And that is healthy. Yeah? Now, if you were to take cocoa butter cream, put it on your skin, all natural, it will remove a lot of marks inside. And then if you were to put it on the inside, some look as well. Yeah? Yeah. So the oil that is on the top when you make hot chocolate, that is actually cocoa butter. Yeah? And each cocoa bean has about 51% cocoa butter in it. And you were asking. Right. So she's asking what can we do about the pests. Remember, it's squirrel, it's parrot, and it's the woodpecker. So they are making cages that you could put over the cocoa that will prevent these pests from attacking. So if you have a cocoa tree with 100 cocoa pods, that's an expensive thing to do. So some of the farmers have firearms, so they don't have to shoot, but they can kill the animal, but they can scare them off. You know? So you can actually scare them off. And there's I think Cocoa Development, they had an experiment going with a machine that emitting sound that will scare away the parrot. I don't know where it's at presently, but they are working on that. Yeah? So it's time for you all to taste your...
Someone on the chat wants to know, thanks to you, new venture. We know going into it.
Right. So the question is asked again, what is new venture? Anybody want to take a shot at it? Yeah, the new venture that they are about to with the chocolate factory. So they plan to make chocolates. They're also training people interested in making chocolate, but the chocolate they're making is to sell as well, and then they'll be training interested people to make chocolates. Yeah.
Could you say something about white chocolate?
Okay. Does anybody know what white chocolate is? Question with a chocolate. Question. You all remember who I have chocolate for? I just forget things like that. White chocolate. All right. White chocolate. Cocoa butter. White chocolate is yes, right. So white chocolate is cocoa butter and sugar. No cocoa. White chocolate is cocoa butter and sugar. No cocoa in that. Right? So remember, so it's time for you all to taste your cocoa chow, right? Right, so let's get that. And you all, if you have any question, just remind them to ask for each other.
Because more and more now, I see we have to use more fertilizers in our products to get it where we want it to be.
Yes. Thank God. So, yes, there's a question concerning cranial larceny. Yeah, so there's a question regarding cranial larceny in cocoa, and thank God that is not occurring as yet. So there have been a few instances where after the farmer cracked the beans, he left it in the field and he took it. And then you remember the people who buy beans would know the farmers. So if somebody who isn't going bring beans, they know for sure. But then there are some unscrupulous buyers as well. So, you know.
Just a random, talk about cocoa trees and talk about chocolate. I know chocolate has to come from, is there a subtle difference of what makes it? What makes it different? But I say that a cocoa drink is the same thing as a chocolate drink.
Alright. So the question is, and this for chocolate, anybody know the difference between cocoa and cacao? So she's saying that cacao is the pot. And she's right to a point. Before cocoa is processed, it's known as cacao. After you make the products with it, it's cocoa. Yeah? So this is your cocoa chow. So now that we have said that, I'd like to give you all a little history of Tamana Mountain chocolates, where you all are presently. So this is not where the estate is. You are actually in TTARP. Tamana is on the other side. The reason why it's called Tamana Mountain Chocolate, our estate is at the foot of the Tamana Mountain. Hence the name Tamana Mountain Chocolate. Right? So we purchased an abandoned estate about 10 years ago. And abandoned cocoa estate. And we had a friend looking after the estate for us. And he was involved with cocoa. He wanted to plant cocoa. We had no interest in cocoa at that time. So we purchased 1,800 young Ontario cocoa and we replanted the entire estate. Plus it had the older trees, we didn't destroy the older trees. And 5 years later we started to get a lot of cocoa. So rather than selling the beans, the wet beans or the dry beans to the fermenters, we did some research and that's when we found out about dark chocolate. So in 2017, Tamana Mountain Chocolate was launched. So that's when we started to make chocolate. In 2019, the Cocoa Development Company asked us to enter the local leg of the cocoa beans competition. just slow up a little. The information that you all are getting here today, and you all are the last group to get Coco chow. All our Coco pods are now out. Eat anything you want. Everything is good for you. Usually, the things have a sharing, right? That are not good. So this is Jackie. People, this is Jackie. She is the one with the chocolates that you all will be sampling in a while. She is the one making all the chocolates. This is Ocean. He is the one doing all the fermentation. He has his own company. And he was in the Dominican Republic 2 weeks ago. Yes. So we did some post-harvest training in the Dominican Republic. So next time you all come, we'll be doing this. Another thing, we have our Coco Festival on the 21st of May. Okay? Yeah. So we have our Coco Festival on the 21st of May, right people? So you all want to bring your family, friends, you can come right here. So we have food and things, we have a current band coming. We have the Coco dancing. This, we have 3 houses put together. So we do things like provisional pork, we have curry, and 3 houses together. We have some games for children. We have other
There's a baby here.
yes, 21st of May. Right. You want to join your Coco chow? Yeah, that's once like I said,
But those seeds that we suck in here, will it grow?
yeah.
But the cocoa seeds, someone was telling me that they can produce an oil with it basted or something. You say cocoa, but the oil,
The butter,
yeah, liquefied.
So this is tough.
Somebody was asking? Right here. So we have the 3 houses together. 21st. Right. That's some people who shock if they don't comment on it. Just one thing. Right, so I was giving you all a little rundown on Tamana Mountain chocolate, right? So 10 years ago, we purchased the estate in Tamana. It was an abandoned cocoa estate. We had no interest in cocoa at that time. We had a friend looking after the estate for us, and he was involved in cocoa. So we purchased 1,800 young Trinitario cocoa plants. He planted it. 5 years later, we started to get a lot of cocoa beans. So rather than selling the beans to the fermenters, we did some research, and that is when we found out about dark chocolate. Jackie enrolled at the university, and in 2017, February of 2017, Tamana Mountain Chocolate was launched. So we are about 5 going into 6 years. We started in 2017. In 2018, the Cocoa Development Officer asked us to enter the local leg of the cocoa beans competition here in Trinidad. We made it into the top 5. And usually, they would take the top 5 beans and send it to France for a competition called the Cocoa of Excellence, where they have over 241 entries from 51 countries around the world. And 3 of the Trinidad beans made it into the top 50 in the world. And when they reached that top 50, they would make chocolate with the top 50 beans, and they had judges from 28 countries around the world judging the chocolate. And 2 of the Trinidad beans made it into the top 20 in the world and top 5 in Latin America and the Caribbean, and our beans was one of them. And that was only 1 year into doing cocoa. We don't want to take any credit for that. We had very good teachers. At that time we were ashamed that from the minister. You know, but that doesn't work. That was in 2019. Every 2 years they have the competition. So we couldn't go up again, and we didn't want to give other farmers a chance. So Cocoa Development Company created something called a cluster, where they took 5 farmers from Tamana, 5 Rio Claro, 5 Northern Range, and they called it a cluster competition. And cluster, I got beans from 4 farmers in Tamana, and our beans made it into the top cluster in Trinidad. And those beans were sent to France. We made it again into the top 50 in the world, but this time we got a bronze medal. And 2 of the other Trinidad beans got silver. So that was 2021. Now we are seeing the outer competition. We don't want to give other farmers a chance. So our son now, who has his own company, and he's more like a fermenter. The name of his company is Trinidad Fermenter, Mid Island Fermenters. And 3 farmers gave their beans to ferment and dry, and 2 of the beans made it into the top 20, and 1 of the beans is in France presently for judging. He's doing really good as well. So that is where we are. Yes. And he was chosen by the European Union to do a post-harvest training in the Dominican Republic about 2 weeks ago. Just came back this Sunday. So there's a lot of scope for youths in Coco. So they say that to sustain, she said why not open? But to sustain the industry, we have to get young people involved as well. We don't say old people are cocoa is a labor-intensive work, There are no machines that harvest cocoa, do the other things. You're working for food. You're working for food. That's what we do. Right? So, with the station that we have here, when we start the training, if anybody is interested, they can leave their name and number. We started with the cocoa farmers first, to graft cocoa, but we'll be grafting citrus, mangoes, avocados, the full works after. But there will be a course to that part of the training because the type of grafting method of grafting we'll be using is called the Junior Bowler method of grafting. Junior Bowler is currently working at the Coco Research Center at UWI, and in 2016 he published a paper on grafting, and his method is an upgraded method of the present grafting system. So plants between 2 weeks and 6 weeks he can actually graft and get them to grow. And once his method, once the plant catch, you know sometimes you buy an orange and you get lemon? That's because the graft died. The graft material that they use on the thing died. But with his method, once it catch, it can revert back to the original. And that is the method we'll be teaching farmers. And Junior Bowler will be here teaching farmers. He's the one who will carry out the training. Yeah, obviously we want to give him some kind of results. Right.
Companies like
So she's asking if we find a lot of chocolate springing up. So every month, Coco Research Center is training 5 new people to make chocolates. The cost is between $3,000 and $5,000. I don't think anyone going to spend that money on what you're seeing today. Obviously, they will be making chocolates. The challenge with that is the chocolate making machines are very expensive. So you spend $5,000 to do the course, and then there's a lot of money because not just one machine. The smallest one is about $600 to $700 US, and that's just the cost of it. To bring it in, and then you have to get tempering machine, you have to get molds, you have to get a chiller, right? So the process of making chocolates after the beans are dried, the first thing is to patch the beans. Patching enhances the flavor, but remember it still has the shell on it, so you have to get rid of the shell. And the process of separating the shell from the beans, or what is known as the coconuts, is called winnowing. So you must remove the shells. When you get the nibs or the cocoa beans from that, you then put it in a machine called a melanger, or a punching machine. That grinds the cocoa nibs to particles less than 20 microns. Less than 20 microns is what is known as liquid chocolate. And when you put that in your mouth, you don't feel any particles. Less than 20 microns, you don't feel any particles in your mouth. After you bring it, which will take about 3 to 4 days, just to achieve that 24 hours a day that machine runs. When you bring it to that size, then you put it in another machine called a tempering machine. And what does tempering do to chocolate? If you don't temper chocolate and you just throw it in break without any noise, without any shine, tempering chocolate brings out the shine and the snap. So when you break a chocolate and it snaps, you know that it was properly tempered. And what tempering does, there are different type of crystals in the chocolate. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The crystal that melts in your mouth is number 5 crystals. So during the tempering process, you want the number 5 crystals to be at the front, because that is the crystal that will melt. If you have 2 and 3, it will melt in your hand easily. Number 6 and 7 wouldn't melt in your mouth. So you want number 5 crystals when you're making chocolate to come forward during the tempering process. And by changing the temperature of the machine, that is how you achieve the number 5 crystals. Yeah? You then put the liquid chocolate into molds, and that's how you get your chocolate. So our chocolates is a 70% dark, and you'll be sampling those as well. We have a 53% dark milk, meaning that 53% pure cocoa, but we have sugar and milk as well added to that. Trinidad like sweet. It's one of the best selling chocolates, dark milk chocolate. And then we don't have all these products in stock, but we do cocoa butter cream face skin, we do cocoa soaps as well, we do cocoa wine, we do cocoa punch cream, we have the grated chocolate, and we also do the instant. With the instant, you just put it in hot water, stir it, it dissolves completely, and you add the sweet. It's 100% pure cocoa. Yeah? Now, some people want to ask if we have chocolate with flavors, like chili pepper, and some people that actually put all the different spices in one chocolate. My take on that is Trinidad cocoa is famous for fruity and floral notes. Anytime you add other things to it, you hide the natural flavor that should be coming out from the chocolate. So I prefer personally the chocolate that has no item. So you get the flavor. I tasted chocolate from Brasso Seco and tasted like passion fruit. You know? And if you add chili, some people add hot plum and out of cocoa to chocolate. It is good. Yes, nothing is wrong with it, but you're taken away from Trinitarian cocoa when you do that. Yeah?
I saw in Tobago they parch the beans in the pot, they pump it in the motor, and then they do whatever that to make the chocolate.
Yes.
But they don't, I didn't see them use no machine.
Right.
But they boil it or something like that to make the chocolate.
Right. So you can imagine having to process 100 kilograms, 200 pounds of patch it, and then you put it in a motor, it'll take a real long time. So when you commercialize it, so that you'll be able to produce more. Because presently we can't keep up with the requirement for our chocolate. Unfortunately, we now have a bigger machine. So at the Cocoa Festival, we have enough chocolates for everyone. So that's how we started. You would start obviously with a little motor and a little small window, a little vacuum cleaner to take out the shell. But as you grow, the time to pump in a motor and to go through the beans one by one is too long. So that's a good starter point. What you would want to do eventually, so you would be using the motor. You know? It's still used for demonstration purposes. Isn't it? Somebody? Alright. Because our equipment are small, we have our free sales certificate that we got from Food and Drug. So our products can be in the supermarkets, but we can't produce fast enough to have it there.
So the chocolate that is mixed with coffee that we buy in the grocery come from your here?
No, that's a
chocolate and coffee.
No. We are not adding anything to our cocoa yet because we want to maintain fine or flavor. Now another thing, if we were to bring in cocoa from away, the plants are talking about, right? And you plant it in Trinidad, you know we could lose our fine of flavor status in Trinidad. So we have to continue planting Trinitarian cocoa to maintain fine of flavor status in Trinidad.
Over time, stop the cocoa diminish.
In the 1920s, we were 30,000 tons. For the past, say 5 years, it was 500 tons. And then it depleted now to about 300 tons.
No, not that, that's really the quality of the trees and wouldn't that fall over time?
Yeah. So he's asking if over time the production from the trees will fall. And yes, eventually the pods will start getting smaller as the trees get older. So they say about between 25 and 30 years you want to replant so that you'll get bigger pods, you'll get bigger beans, and you'll get more production as well. It's like a person that was their own, you put this less. Well, you mean if it's still, yeah, you could hand pollinate. You could take a cocoa flower from one variety and hand pollinate another one. That's why they have over 2,500 varieties, because it continues to cross-pollinate. So you could come up with your own type. Just take two different cocoa and you put it together, the flower, and hand pollinate, and you'll have your own type of cocoa. That's how versatile cocoa is. Yeah? Between 25 and 30 years. Yeah. It could last longer, a cocoa tree could last up to 100 years, but the production will drop. And you don't want that. You want to make some money, right? Tamana Mountain Chocolates. Yeah? Not yet. Not yet. No, it's not in the grocery yet. Like I was saying, we have our pre-sale certificate, and we can't produce enough to sell any now. But we will be like, once a month, we'll be like in Trinity Mall, where our products will be available. And we used to be in South, in where they had it before in Naparima College. Yeah, we were there before, but since COVID we didn't really go. But we used to be there as well. Yeah. So Jackie, the chocolate it is ready. So Jackie has the chocolate for you all to sample. You all want to sample it now? Or when we come back from now, No.
You're hungry, boy.
Okay, while we waiting, remember it's half the group going one way and half going, so I suspect as you're sitting down there, that could be a half. Unless you want to mix up with other people, but it's just half, so it will be approximated. Half will go to one side and half will go to the other. It's only one shot.
Somebody asked for us to announce the Coco Festival again. So it's on the 21st of May. 21st of May, and it starts around 10. We'll have a parang band here as well. We'll have Coco dancing. We'll have food that will be on sale, so it will be curry. We'll do some barbecue as well, and we'll do some provision and coke. Right? And then we bring in some other vendors. So we'll have people doing like pepper sauce and kuchela, we have some person doing cocoa creams, different creams, like skin.
So we got chocolate.
So they do like chocolate flavor mix. Yeah, for sure.
It's not a day selection, it's not a day
You have some core infrastructure to market for you all are taking.
So, question around, we have any infrastructure in place, marketing. So, we have joined this group called OTC, Original Trinitarian Coco, and we comprise of chocolatiers and cocoa farmers, and with the help of the European Union, we were able to set up a web page. So if you all visit OCTTT, you will see the group, the different type of chocolatiers that are involved in the group, and obviously we have a page where our own chocolates are highlighted as well. Right, so remember, OTCTT is the group that we belong to, and that's where our product is highlighted. We also have a Facebook page, Tamana Mountain Chocolates, and if you visit that, you will see where we will be at. So if we go into the mall, Jackie will put it up on the page, and you all will be see. So if you want to get any of the products after, that's where we will be available. And you can always call, and we'll meet you halfway. So the number is on the Facebook page, Tamana. You can get Jackie at 383-7472. Right, so if anybody wishes after to contact us, you can call 383-7472.
Yeah, don't forget.
I guess you all can put it up on the group chat. Your group chat. Hopefully when we be Trinity Mall, we'll have some creams as well. That's where the Friday and Saturday before Mother's Day. Right. So the chocolate you all are having is a 17% dark and a 53% dark milk. Anybody? But we have some of this plain engine here, right? So you all, I just explain a few things that you see before you go to the museum. This is a plane from a B-17 bomber that crashed in Touch Road, that is the other village. 7 Americans died in the crash. And apparently they tried to parachute out, but the plane was too low. So they found them hanging on trees with the parachute still intact. This is a model of a B-17 bomber, and it carried 4 engines. The Americans came and took back all the other parts. This engine was in Arabian for 76 years. And 2 years ago, the owner of the estate pulled this out for us. But because it was submerged underwater for so long, when we got it, it just started to disintegrate. So all we can do to preserve it is just add like coal oil, just to preserve it. Yeah. Unfortunately, the owner of the estate died a year ago in a freak accident at the arena dam. He was a log cutter. One of the trees was attached to a dry tree. He came back and it fell. So we want to do a little, we have his ID card, we want to do a little plaque and we put it right here as a remembrance for him. No, this no, that's one of the Germans. They were going to kill the Germans. Okay, and the bicycle, some of you remember the bicycle? Right. So that's what they call a freight bike. So they would sell fish and doubles and carry the load and stuff with it. The barrel, you all see the barrel? That is the type of barrel they use to import salted meat in long ago. It's a cement type barrel. It's really heavy. Right? And then this one, this is a bread slicing machine. It still works. So usually you feed the bread down the chute like that, and the blades will slice it, and you're bagging it on this side. So it's a 1958 bread slicing machine. Right? And then we have the chula. Right? And all of you are familiar with the chula. Yes. We have the barbecue settings, and that is our dirt oven. Anybody knows how the dirt oven works? Yes. Right. And for those who don't know, you're lighting the fire on the inside. And when the oven is actually the dirt, so when it's hot, you pull out all the coal and you put the bread or the cake inside. But how would you know when the oven is hot? Anybody? That's right. You take white flour, you throw it in the oven. Depending on how fast it burns, you know how hot the oven is. So if when you throw the white flour, it burns instantly, you cannot put bread in that. The first time we made it and we tried to use it, Jackie put in cupcakes, and in seconds the paper catch on fire. Really hot, we didn't know how to do it. But now we have a fear.
How do you know how much time to put in what?
Right, so this oven can do 4 batches of 6 loaves at a time. So you could do 24 bread while it's hot, and then you could do cakes and pizzas after. Jackie did some bread last time, and this morning about 3 o'clock, she was making brownies and so we have some chocolate brownies for sale as well from the dot. Yeah?
People sleep.
But it's not something I will encourage people to make it into a business because they are going to eat. You get from that, the money you make it won't be able to pay for the medicine. Yeah. No, but even if you take the long pallet which we have here, remember you still have to get all the coals out. But that is where the heat is intense. So I would encourage anybody to make that as a business. Right. So we all ready to take a walk. Half of the group will be going into the museum. One restriction we have, you can take pictures anywhere in the fields, here, in the Grafton station.
But
the museum, we wouldn't want any pictures. Please, just for security reasons. Right? Oh yeah, who's that? So we're going to split up the group. Half of the group will come with me. We're going across to the station where you see the processing facility. We may have some plants on sale if anybody is interested. Right? So this was
I can't take you out, I'm married.
Yeah, you're well at all. Yeah, understand? Yeah.
That what tap is all about. You're looking nice, man. You married?
I'm 83 years old.
And counting? Wow.
83 and a great grand.
Okay. That's great.
I had to hold that and take you out one day.
You can't take me out, I'm married.
I'm taking out everybody.
There is no work.
Yeah, I just find that. Yeah.
You're walking too fast. Say it loud! Say it loud! Say it loud! Wow! Roxo! 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 On the wrong side, boy. You just come on.
Anything you do, I find it only pointing one way.
Which way is that? Man talking or they get him?
Take one of the beans and taste it. This is dried beans from our estate. Now remember we are at the end of the Coco season, so we hardly have any beans presently. So I'm not able to show you all the fermentation process, but these are the boxes that we do the fermenting in. And because we are organic, everything has to be identified. The company that got us certified, company from France.
Singly, you see that?
And they came, they visited.
Yeah.
We'll try that.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
They made their report, they sent it to Germany for individual
Somebody talking to them now.
classes.
They like to sit down there.
And that's how we came to certified. So let's see, some of the beds could only take certified beans, some of the boxes could only take certified beans as well. And you all notice the roof is plastic? Yeah. So we kind of we're innovative in that. Instead of moving the house, we use plastic galvanized. And you notice the bed has a mesh on it? Yeah. That is something called textiline. And because there are holes in it, the beans are aerated from underneath.
Aerated, wow, like that
Aerated.
that would be.
When you all tasted the chocolate, anybody got any flavors coming out from it? Yeah? Here's what. You want to hear any power saw?
Yeah.
We have some friends making some board for us. We are building a cabin. Our own cabin because we have a lot of storage visitors and they want to stay. So we build a cabin so that we'll be able to accommodate them. And the only place to dry the wood presently because we don't have beams. Right? So these are beams. So all you want here is cedar. And when you're making boxes for the fermentation, you want to use cedar because cedar retains the heat as well. So if you all want to look at the bottom of the box will have holes for the initial breakdown of the pot so that the liquid can go out. And after that you block the bottom of the base because you don't want any more heat coming in, any more heat goes in. But the heat is what causes the fermentation to be good as well. So we're in the process of refurbishing the drying house, replacing the galvanized. This is only about 4 years before it's deteriorating already. So we're going to use the UV plastic on the roof and the galvanized we taken, we're going to put the galvanized all the way around. So that will kind of concentrate the heat here as well. So you get a better dry when you dry the beans. Right? So if you want to come, we have a few trees I want you to see. Some exotic fruit trees.
Okay.
You are familiar with Zebra?
That's trouble, man. That's trouble. She just pick it up, look away. Oh. Raise up your shovel again.
Oh, wow.
Wow. I want to pass.
Yeah.
I want to pass.
Yes, I can do that.
I want to pass. Can I pass you on the record what he's saying? Excuse.
They live in wrong, I ain't going so tall. What should I go in here?
I'm trying to go where I'm watching.
Exactly. And I plan to get
Brazilian grape. So this is known as jaboticaba or the Brazilian grape. Right?
Look so more now.
Brazilian grapes are what they call jaboticaba. So there's the grapes along the body of the plant. Right? This one, this is known as chestnut. You all familiar with the song, Christmas song? Chestnut roasted?
On an open fire.
That is the chestnut plant. So there's a nut in a pot. There are about 3 or 4 nuts inside the pot. Alright? This is some 12-20 cocoa plants that we have here. This is the plant up in the estate. This one. This is the green fat pork. You all know about the pink one? This one is the green fat pork. And we have the black fat pork here as well.
Fat what?
Fat pork.
P-O-R-K?
Yeah.
I thought me bigger one.
Nah. Yeah, this is the green. So it's right green skin. That one right pink. And then we have a black fat pork as well. Yeah. This one is the chestnut, right? This one here, you're familiar with yellow soursop?
No, I never.
Yellow.
I never see
The
yellow.
flowers yellow. The fruit yellow. Inside is yellow as well. Yellow soursop. Soursop, yeah.
It have any tree?
No, that one is galangal.
When that was there?
That's there when you start. This one is galangal. You all familiar with Thai food cooking? The white ginger?
Yes.
So that is galangal or the white ginger. Right? The one to the back, the tall one, that's primrose. The one to the back there?
I know her.
You know what?
Primrose.
This one here is kashima. The one to the top? Right, and then we have lily. You remember lily? Some of you?
Kaka lily.
Red lily, and they have the yellow lily as well. Right? Then these are the dwarfs from City here. These. This one, you all familiar with this one? Correct. You know what this is for? Right. So ladies, this is for you. This plant. This is a natural healer for women.
And
Coffee when they
and
have babies.
and
The 8 days
Roxo.
after, this is what they use. And then
Roxo.
It makes a nice coffee though.
wild senna. That one is used as well. Right?
That's a big yellow flower.
It's a cleanser. And the best natural food is wild senna. Best. This one is wild coffee.
Oh, that is wild coffee. I thought it was wild senna.
Just might. Talking about more than one.
Dry one. So this is goa bean. Goa bean or wing bean.
Okay.
Just cook it like a body or like a same. So this is the dry one. Nah. So this is goa bean. These are pomegranate. We're having some problem with the batch accident. Right? And then this flower. This is what is known as Rangoon creeper.
I know that plant.
So you can actually eat the flowers.
Oh, okay.
Right? This is
I see that
Rangoon.
La Vega de Celda. So you have the, I have been look. I had a plant under this dry, whether it's dry.
Yeah.
You have any plants?
Once it's established.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, and you see, we have a challenge up here for water.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I can't make too much plants until the rain starts because the station alone takes a lot of water.
When I bought it, I didn't get time to transfer it, so it stayed in the pot, and that was the end of it. La Vega de Celda.
So it's actually the flowers, right?
Yeah.
This one is parakeet. This one, you all know parakeet, right? This one golden fruit.
And black sage.
This, the yellow black sage leaf here, not the dry one.
Black sage.
Yellow black sage leaf.
Parakeet.
Where the yellow one is? This one?
No, black sage is a different thing.
Do you use fat pork any other way than just eat the raw fruit? Is there any other way? You want to make wine with it, nothing?
No, it doesn't have any flavor.
I know, it just tastes terrible. Yeah. So I was wondering if you know you have another use with, like making jam or something.
But you could probably make sure with it.
It's good enough.
But Chris, since you were explaining about the rangoon, does it grow by pieces or it have to propagate?
Grow by pieces. Right, this one is carambola or the 5 finger.
Yeah, I know
that. So let's go to the cartridge. So we have some hummingbird feeders. So you'll be seeing some hummingbird flying around. Don't panic.
I saw you all had one by the house.
This is mimosa, right? This is zebra peak. This is the flowers, and this is the dry
I have that
zebra
at
peak.
home, but I didn't know the name of it.
The mimosa.
Yeah.
So there's the pink. There's
Yes,
the
so
red.
fluffy and nice.
Yeah,
Oh.
so hummingbird. They also.
I'll take the name. I didn't know the name
That's
of it.
mimosa.
Right.
So we go in. We go into the station.
Okay.
All right. So this one, you're familiar with this one here?
Don't rush me.
That is fever grass, lemongrass.
You tell me.
Razor. Smell it and tell me. What you think?
This is so grass. Is that fever grass?
What's the name of
They
that?
call it fever grass or lemongrass. Fever grass or lemongrass.
Kashima. We have custard apple. We have some citrus. You want me to go first? Okay.
Here we go.
Okay, so we go in the first.
Captain, let's go.
Watch me, I got soul.
What is this? Look, who?
I don't follow the man.
Watch me, I got soul. Yeah. Why do you think I have that growing here, girl?
I want a plant to carry home.
This is ruku here.
But you know the other one, they call it cashew.
There's ruku, that's the yellow cashew. Anybody can identify this one?
There's a, wait a minute, yam.
This one, this vine, not the tree, the vine. There's a type of pepper. Black pepper. There's black pepper. So how it bears, it'll be a strand of pepper. It'll be green, it'll turn red, and then black. So people who grow in it will clean the area and put like a cloth. So fast as it falls in, they collect it. Yeah? Right. So this is black pepper, people. This one. I had a tree that was bearing here on this same plant, and in 2019, ADB launched a Coco loan here, and the minister was coming, and some friends came to help clean up, and one of my friends took his time and put down the bearing.
And he took his time to do the wrong thing.
He didn't know. You know, so
there's some terrible mosquitoes.
when we go up,
That's what mosquitoes do. They terrify. And who will sell it here?
That is what and the neighbor. I put my neighbor to the day. Right, this one. This is cranberry hibiscus. And they can use the leaves for tea. This is, to me, is one of the most beautiful hibiscus. This one.
You have no plants in
I
there?
hope we have plants. I hope it has flowers. You'll be able to see a flower. So this company is the OTC, the group that we belong to. They are the one heading the group. They are the ones that make the cannabis chocolates. And then we had Angostura. Well, Angostura sponsored the part of the building here. They also are the ones that sponsor the signs. So we have a big one like this in the junction down here, and we have this one here, and they put up this one for us as well. So thanks to Angostura. Right?
Wow.
Chris, what is that lemon, lime?
No, those are Cleopatra mandarin. Those are rootstock, so we'll be grafting on them. Let's move the shovel.
So you have nothing here for sale?
We have a few plants.
Like what?
We make in plants.
What you have for sale?
I'll show you in a bit.
All right.
Right?
Yes.
So anybody know this one, this baji?
Yeah, Gurma.
What?
Sorry. Gurma or Gurma?
Guma baji.
Guma.
Like this one.
I say Gurma or
And to me,
Guma.
this is the best tasting baji.
Yeah.
Guma. So long time when they cut the forest,
Yeah,
the plant, this will just go wild.
My mommy used to
And the
cook that.
seeds is used to propagate it.
Yes.
Right? So
We
this
have
is
a
Guma
lovely
baji.
but Guma.
Yeah.
Guma. So like
Yes.
they sell
Mama,
it
you got
here.
a better baji than that?
They sell it in the market. Hollywood is bad.
So this is Guma. Yeah. This is, well, those are cherry pepper. This is what they call the sweet leaf. And apparently the Bashak and them, yeah, they get taken care of it. Anybody familiar with this vine? No. This is known as vanilla. Wild vanilla.
Vanilla topping?
Vanilla bean. Yeah. But this is probably the rarest one. This is the wild one. So this will be in the forest.
They don't use that to make ice cream and thing too, the bean?
Yeah, that's true. This is what they make vanilla. Essence and everything.
Essence, right.
So we have another one here as well. I don't know if you all familiar with this. This vine. Anybody ever see this before?
That looks like.
So this is probably the most important plant we have here. This is known as matroot. Matroot. Everybody ever hear about that?
Yeah.
They're using this in olive oil to clean your arteries. And it's not the leaf, mama. Matroot. Using the root. Right? This one. You all know this one, eh?
Yes. No.
This is what they call puju root. So
That is cool.
if somebody have a fever, you know people get diarrhea?
Yes.
The fever, this is the cure, the root. The jolly root. That's the cure for that. Yeah? So this, we have some really, really important. Things like this, I wouldn't sell, I'll give away plants. I'll be making some around June, July. I'll be giving out about 20 of these plants. And I'm selling this. It's too important to sell. Mama, you go by the doctor?
So we come here when we get sick.
Here's what, eh? I was in the Nagar for the Diwali Nagar. We had this plant. This one. We have, anybody know what Pachi? Pachi.
It's your bearing?
We had Pachi. We had Zebapi. I must specialty plants for 9 days. So I realized people like the doctor. So I don't give people no bush medicine. You understand? Because the kind of side effect that medicine has, these things don't carry that. So the question is asked, how much you use? I can't tell you how much you use. Use a little bit? You know, and eventually you'll... So let's go.
What's the name of this pepper?
That's chili pepper.
Oh, chili pepper.
So I'll be making, I'll have those plants in a bit.
Okay.
Right? And all these are citrus. These
And
are what they call...
tomato going to get on the outside.
So these are what they call Cleopatra mandarin. So this is about the best rootstock. So if you're making oranges, grapefruit and things, this is what you'd want to use as the better rootstock. It'll be plenty and it'll be sweet. Yeah? So,
But you have in there.
right. So you all remember we spoke about the junior bowler method of grafting?
Yes.
After he grafts, that is the chamber that he puts the plant in. So when those plants come out there, they're ready. So this is the grafting station here.
Yeah.
To the back is what we call the hardening station. So after we graft here, remember there's no rain coming through. We then put it to harden to the back of the station. Anybody realize we have a drying house here too?
Yeah.
When we were building the
Coco
station,
house,
we realized there was so much heat in here that we could actually do some drying beds. So these beds could take the same amount of cocoa as across there, so we could do a ton of beans at a time. And we have a nice example. You see how the size of the cocoa pods
this is what we're looking at.
Look at the size of those on the trunk. And you realize the importance of not damaging the flower cushion. Yeah, but once you damage it, and what we're doing
Yes,
too,
you talked about that.
what we're doing
Clearly.
too, we're bringing down the trees. You don't need to have a tall cocoa tree. But if they're bearing on the trunk, why
You're
want the
getting it
branches?
good there. You're
A
getting
lot of the nutrients will go to the branches. You want the
Yes.
nutrients to feed the cocoa pod.
It's a pity my grandchildren, which is 8 and 10 years, can't, learn of this. But how soon, Chris, how soon would you sell one of these?
We should have these plants in June.
So if you purchase one now, would you not
You'll get back with different ones. Yeah, that's expensive, because,
Do you have
those you could do, we have in yesterday. So you can make any plants you want from this mango. You go through a process called grafting. And remember we talk about grafting and cloning and seedling. So this is like seedling. So when you put a bearing branch on that, it's what we call graft. You all know Aki, right? Yes. Like these. This is a flower, and I think this plant is about $350. That's replacing a plant over there. This is $250. Yes. So those are Aki there, right? These here are soursop, and we have some of these for sale. And these like $50 for soursop, right? Then we have pearl pepper, the long pearl peppers. That's these here. And then these are custard apple. Those are Kashima. We have West Indian lime there. These are not for sale. I'm just showing you all this one. Those are Mare. Look at the leaves. The leaves are like the paw of a dog, dog foot. The paw. This is known as pache in Patois. Pache. And this plant, these leaves are for circulation and heart disease. A lady reached by us, I wouldn't call name, 9 o'clock at night, looking for this. And another lady stopped on the road where we had the main tree, and she asked me if I know it's pache. So I said, like, this lady mad, she stopped right by the tree and asked me if I know pache. So I said, what this is for? She took a picture of it and said, this is for circulation. So circulation and heart disease. This simple little plant. Pache. Pache is patois for dog paw. Draw the leaves.
Yeah. And drink the water, like water. Keep it in the fridge or whatever.
Pache.
But you have to have a measurement, but not too regular.
Like I say, you take small amounts.
Portions.
And then you eventually. Now I cannot guarantee to you that this is it, because I thank God I don't have to use these things.
Yes.
So I could just see. This one is longevity spinach. The small one there. So it's steaming the leaves. It's steaming the leaves for high blood pressure and diabetes. Yep. And you all could Google it. Longevity spinach. Google it and check that. So the amount of sun that we had these last days, eventually I'll have plants in that. Yeah. So because of the intense weather we had, I lost a lot of plants because I could only concentrate on those in there. And then we have a clonal garden here with ICS 95 Coco, and that is what we'll be using to graft. So I had to concentrate on those plants. I had to choose which plants to survive and not survive.
Where is it die?
Ruku.
Die plant. Where the Ruku ladies were stopping just now? Look all the Ruku dry. Die plant.
And then we have West Indian cherry, we have Rookman Pomera, you know? And then all those are West Indian line. And down to the back we have the, you seen any flowers on the cranberry hibiscus? Those red. Look, so you could, all are lucky, you can actually see the one of the flowers there. Yes, careful, we're doing some. Yeah, we have those for sale. Those are $40. The red, yeah. Yeah, those are $40.
What is this?
It's like sorrel.
That is the hybrid Zabapi. That's looking like Spanish time. A type of
Zabapi cousin.
Maybe cousin that is real family.
This is the birthday for taking this one. This is the long one.
And then we have some sophistication.
What's that?
No, that will go by couples. You all see the flowers?
Yes, like a little sorrel.
Yeah, we're doing some construction work still.
This is a long pepper.
Long bell pepper.
So, yeah.
$10.
Okay, you got the name correctly?
This is a better one.
And that could go in open sunshine. Eh? That's what planting. Those are the West Indian cherry, those are the Rookman Pomera, and these are the Governor series. You know the one to roll? Those are the Governor series. So June, July we have citrus. We'll have all these available. We have mango, starch mango, July mango. We have avocados the same. Huh?
We want the fruits. Yeah, we want the fruits.
Sometimes. Most of the fruits are given away around here. And when people come and tour, they don't sample. But we have a citrus estate too.
Where is that? Where is that?
There's somebody doing plants in Trin City. So I will carry plants. But we did chocolates and things.
Where's your citrus?
When these ready for you.
Right, you have something for it.
Where's your citrus estate? Where's your citrus estate?
Do you have
That West Indian line, it bears in bunches. Yeah, that's not true.
you might laugh at something.
Those are $30.
What size there is big? Big or small?
No, I think there'll be one size.
Regular that you
It's not
roll.
a series, you know.
No, not series.
This is the West Indian with vitamin C one. Yeah.
No, not series. I want the Western.
This is the West Indian cherry. That is the one with the vitamin C in it.
Yeah, that's a
this
purple one.
No.
No, that's the
The
green
one,
one.
that, that one is the Governor series. That is the one to rub. This is you are rubbing this one.
Everything going in pot and oil container.
I can put it in my house.
No, big thing.
Put it outside in front.
That's white seed.
Put it outside in front, Mary. Somebody go take it.
Oh, let's say put it we shouldn't build it at all.
In a pot, put it in a pot. I have a friend, she put everything in pot.
Damawa? Eh? A hot
You're going to put this on Google?
YouTube.
But this is a nice class.
Yeah, it's on Facebook Live right now.
I'm not on Facebook because I do not have any book in my face. I don't want no book in my face.
Well, you're missing out.
Missing out? Where's
Big time. Big time.
Sometimes you see what you want to see.
Yeah, big comment.
So much young people are around you and they're talking that kind of stuff.
Tomatoes.
Why stop touching it? Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
Tomatoes.
Not tomatoes. Tomatoes, exactly.
Tomatoes.
Damados.
Chris, how much for the tomato plant?
$5.
How much for the tomato plant?
$5.
$10. Cherry tomato.
No, big cherry and the small one.
The tomato plant.
Cherry tomato.
$10. Cherry tomato.
Lady, Hollis, I'm not able with this lady today. She will give me thunder.
What's
Everything will hang down.
Cabbage? This is good man, I want a half bar.
And what is this?
Hey, what's where you going here now?
I want to go where I'm watching.
Yeah, it'll be long pepper. I go in back home with something. Let me saldrania, what do you call it? Oh gosh. What is it? This flower plant. Where is Chris?
Got you.
Please.
Please. Is this the second group?
No, the second group waited to come here. They waited and we to come.
And the first group outside there, very man.
This is the first group here.
I with the first group and I recording them down there. They're getting a whole education down too.
We now come from there. We now come from there.
You can now come from there and I with the man all the time.
You come right behind me. You right here.
Hey, that's strictly legal, eh? You understand? Yeah.
We eat too much, so we come here to sell dog.
Roxana dog.
Then I thought you would be, but they say I can't take pictures in any case. At the museum. Yeah, but have lovely things that you that you would want to show.
Oh gosh.
Why are you walking so slow? Can I get in front?
You're not in front.
Can I get in front of you guys?
Pass.
Can I get in front of you? Can I get in front of you? Okay, but you rock so then. I pass you. Hey, you're drifting out.
No, that's only this.
Mister. Got you. You're the second group?
Yes.
You in the second group?
Yeah, second group here.
Now get ready.
Yes, we'll be ready. Be ready. Be ready. Like ready.
Officer Dibbles.